All right, we're back. Big Leafs win last night. Brandon and I watched most of that game together. It was a pretty good one. We were just chilling, having some drinks, watching the game. That was
Side
a
note,
fun one. Yeah, but so we were
some
able to.
Pepsis.
It was they were Pepsis for sure. But I think it was the first time we've actually watched a Leafs game together, so that was fun.
Brotherly connection bond right there.
Matt was there in spirit.
We were we were working on our school project.
Yeah,
100%. You guys want to tell the viewers about that school project? I think it's kind of interesting.
No. Anyway, well, we don't want to give away too much because maybe some of the other listeners in the class will take our ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just what's the project about? Just say.
We have to make an Olympic bid. That's all.
We also have to control a social media channel for a couple days too.
Yeah. So moving on, because I'm sure everybody is just thrilled to hear about our school projects. Leafs big win last night, 4-3 in overtime. Matthews tucks one away after a minute 30 shift, or was it 2 minutes 30 shift? And they were able to, claw a victory back from the Jets after dropping the first one and dropping two before that, not to the Jets, but to Vancouver. So I thought Hellebuyck was unreal last night. Let's start with that, because Connor Hellebuyck showed why he is a Vezina-worthy goaltender. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, I'd say you're correct. He's been standing on his head for a long time now. And I honestly, hot take right here, the last 2 years, I don't think there's been a goalie better than him in the whole NHL. Maybe Vasilevsky.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think
maybe that's
correct.
Especially since they lost every single defenseman a few years ago when they lost. I think they lost Bufflin, Trouba, Sherratt, and probably someone else, and Tyler Myers all in 1 year, which is kind of insane when you look at that. So, Connor Hellebuyck stood in his head the last 2 games. As of right now, I have him winning the Vezina. Just trying to throw that in there. But, it was very frustrating to watch from a Leafs fan standpoint, because Hellebuyck was on.
Yeah, I mean, I was having a conversation with my dad this morning because he calls me after every Leafs game just to chat about it. And I brought up a good point that he agreed with. If the Leafs had Hellebuyck in net and the Jets had Anderson in net, I think the Leafs win that like 7-3. Right? Because, Anderson, he had a good game. It's just the scoring chances the Leafs had last night, it was unreal. And I believe it was during the second intermission, Jeff O'Neill said, if you're the coach, you tell your team, keep doing what you're doing, because there's no way Hellebuyck can keep doing this. And they were able to get a couple by him for the win. I mean, the Jets made it close by tying it up with 2 minutes left, but just goes to show you, like, when your big guys are going. So I thought Nylander, Tavares, Marner, and Matthews were the Leafs' 4 best players last night, which is what you need in a big game like that. They were doing, they were drawing the attention away from the puck when needed, and that reflected well on the Mikheyev goal. And I just thought it was a good overall effort, and they definitely could have scored more goals. It's just Connor Hellebuyck was standing on his head.
I'll talk about Connor Hellebuyck real quick, because that was pretty much one of the key focuses we had when we were watching the game, because he was saving essentially breakaway worth chances, very high quality scoring area chances, as Josh tried to mention to me last night. And there's a difference between saving flutters from the blue line, like from Ron Hainsey, for example, or slot chances, breakaway chances from some of the high end guys on the Maple Leafs. So he stood on his head. He didn't have to stand on his head against the Maple Leafs to prove to us much, but we still won somehow, and it took a really good goal in overtime to beat him.
Yeah, how does Matthews' wrist look on that overtime goal? I thought it looked all right.
People always keep saying that, and it's so annoying, just like his wrist, because I don't think he's like I think it took him a little while just to get used to it, but he's not set back by any means. He's played the same style. And I remember they were for the power play, they tried to put him in front of the net and do stuff so he's not shooting, but it's if he's out there, man, I think he can play. He's just so good, and a lot of his goals, they're not big slap shots. They're just kind of cool wrist shots. He gets the puck in different areas to score. That one was insane because he roofed it on the backhand. So I just think as a goal scorer, there's other stuff you can do to where even if you are limited with your wrist, it doesn't really matter. So they have to stop saying that on the broadcast, because I swear they said it 40 times that his wrist.
Well, it's an easy narrative, right?
Well, it's a lazy narrative. It's annoying.
Easy, lazy, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because they have a back-to-back coming up this weekend. They play the Jets Saturday and the Sens Sunday. I totally forgot they had a back-to-back coming up. I just saw it this morning. So do you think, like, say they beat the Jets on Saturday and he's a little banged up, is there a chance he can sit on Sunday, or do you think he's just want to keep playing? Because Ottawa's an easy team he can pot a couple goals against. Do you think that's one of his main goals this year, is to net as many as he can, or do you think he's going to go kind of into the future and look at his health for the playoffs?
That's probably in the back of his head, like running the rocket and scoring as many goals as possible. But in terms of like a coach and management perspective, there's probably going to be a lot of guys we rest on Sunday. Like obviously, Freddie won't be playing, so one of our other goalies will get in there. And people that also might not play, maybe Thornton and Spezza might not play. Spezza probably likes playing the Sens, but just in terms of being older on a back-to-back, those are definitely games you want to kind of rest a little bit. But I could see them taking out maybe a Tavares, Muzzin, Matthews, just anyone who's putting some hard miles on. Because, like, I just think it's a smart thing to do. Like, I know a lot of people don't like load management, but I think it's more picking and choosing when you go at your full roster, you know?
Right. And if Matthews is worried about that rocket, it's not really close right now. He's leading the league by 5 goals, and he's missed. How many games has he missed now? 4?
Yeah, but the only problem with that, Josh, is the person who's second is Connor McDavid. So, like,
they're playing the same teams too, right? So
no, but I just meant more like if Connor McDavid had a 4-goal game followed by a 3-goal game, I would not be surprised.
No, I could see that happening too, but
yeah,
I just think like natural goal scoring ability, Matthews, if he just keeps going at what he's doing, he won't have an issue winning this trophy. So do we think Saturday or Sunday we see the return of Jack Campbell? Probably Sunday, right?
I'd hope one of those days for sure.
I don't want to see Hellebuyck back in net. I want to see Campbell play. Like, he's been practicing. He was out there today. Nylander was taking shots on him, and then he was also working with the goalie coach. So I can see him maybe slotting in against Ottawa. I think you got to play Freddie against the Jets, just because you've seen them the last 2 games, and then Sunday put Campbell in against the Senators. Maybe take some guys out, put some new guys in. What did we think of Kenny Agostino last night, Matt? What did you think of his game?
In the 4 minutes that he played,
yes,
he was fine. I just think we have so much depth that, like, if it's Kenny Agostino or Scott Sabrin, like we've mentioned on the podcast, anybody in that role, I think it would totally be fine. If he gets another game, I'm fine with it. But, like, I honestly don't think it matters at this point of this season.
No, and I think that's just rotating through your guys. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see what you have, and you can't, like, you can only take so much out of a practice. Keith has been saying that he worked hard in practice, and that's why he was getting this chance. So, maybe we see him again in the back-to-back coming up, but it's going to be a fun one. Matt, Brandon and I, after the last game, the last Jets game, we went live on Instagram, and we're inviting people on to come and talk with us. It was
Yesterday?
a fun experience. No, this was was it Monday?
The first one. The first one, yeah.
We invited people to come and join us, and we had one guy, I won't name him. We had one guy join us, and he said that Keith isn't the best coach, and he said to fire him, right, Brandon?
He said to replace Keith, right?
He said to replace Keith. So what did you think? What do you think of Keith's coaching style so far?
I don't really know why you brought that up. That's kind of nonsense. And, like, no offense to whoever said that. Like, I'm sure he's a good dude. He knows hockey. Yeah. But I just think that's kind of more like the Toronto market speaking, like, oh, I personally think blah, blah, blah players shouldn't be on the third line, should be on the first line. Like, I think it's kind of minor nitpicking. But in terms of how he's handled, like, the boys in the core, I think it's totally fine. It's really good. He's a winner everywhere he went. And you're never going to see a coach like this fired, because I think how many games over 500 is he? Like 50? Like, his record in the NHL, the AHL, the OHL, even if you go back to junior A, I believe, like, the guy just wins, and like and more to that, he's Dubas's guy. And usually when you see a GM and a coach that close, the only way the coach gets fired is if it's both of them. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I definitely think in terms of, like, our team, this is Dubas's last bullet. He probably thinks, and I'm sure Shanahan and everyone kind of thinks, that these are the two are here together. The only way I can see a coaching change or, like, trading Nylander or something drastic is if we play like shit in the playoffs. But other than that, I don't really see anything major coming from. And just kind of getting probably what he's talking about, Keith, I heard some people don't like Kerfoot playing in the top 6 on the left wing. They don't like that. What are some other things that people don't like that Keefe does? Because there are minor things, but I just think they're so minor that you shouldn't even be talking about them.
The thing I see with Keefe is that he's coaching this team to be soft, right? And why would you try and play a game that your players don't have the skill set for? You know what I mean? Like the Leafs, they're not built to out hit the other team. They're not built to outfight the other team. Yeah, they have pieces that can do that. But if you have like your core four, let's focus on that, and then a couple other pieces. It's speed, it's skill, it's hockey smarts. That's what Keefe's using for this team. And then you have your outside pieces, and it's kind of like a plug and play. Like Mikheyev can kind of go up and down. Like a prime example is last night is taking out Travis Boyd and putting in Kenny Agostino. Just see what you have. And it worked out. They got the win. Like, yeah, Agostino didn't really play a role in the outcome of the game, but it's just simple moves like that I think are kind of separating him. And I think what you're seeing is these Leafs fans, and I don't want to offend anybody, but these Leafs fans who just kind of watch the game to watch the game and be entertained by it, they're not seeing the hockey IQ that is coming out of the style of coaching. You know what I mean? So they would rather see like a Daryl Sutter team who is just throwing the body around, throwing hits, and then winning games 2-1. They don't want to see the speed and skill and rolling all four lines to win a game, 4-3, 5-6. You know what I mean?
The problem with that is that's not sustainable over an 82-game season in the NHL anymore. Like, it's not realistic. And I know a lot of people point at Boston when they won the Cup, or the LA Kings.
Just to clarify, are you talking about the Daryl Sutter style?
Yeah. I'm talking about the style of winning 2-1, shutting everyone down, throwing 40 hits a game. That's not realistic just in terms of like a lot of things are penalties now, which is hilarious that people don't even think about. And I just think you get so much farther when you build an organization around skilled players, your Matthews, your Marner, your Nylander, because there's only so much guys like Hyman and McCabe can contribute over a long period of time. Maybe not Hyman, because I think Hyman's a little different, but like a Mikheyev, a Bogosian, those type of physical players or speed guys or just hit, whatever you want to call them. Like I think you said plug-in players, Josh. It doesn't really matter, but just those guys. I don't think you can get success building a team around them. Like you can't. So I don't know. It's just kind of a pointless narrative in my opinion. The Leafs are totally fine.
Like they want people, they for some, like these people who are critical of Keefe and Dubas, they want this team to play like the Islanders.
But people have to remember the only reason the Islanders did that is because when Lou and Barry Trotz came in, they looked at their roster. They say, okay, we don't have talent to play any other way. So we're going to play this way.
Exactly.
And if you watch the Islanders now, they're slowly kind of playing their way out of that with Barzal becoming better, Villiers, they have some other young guys on their team. So I just think it's more what you have. And like, you're really going to tell Matthews, Marner, and Nylander not to score and play more conservative? Like, come on, that's bullshit.
Exactly. Like you want to use your players the best they are. Something else happened off the ice in the Leafs Nation, and this caused quite the reaction for some unknown reason. Like, it was kind of funny to track it. Justin Bieber released a song and a music video dedicated to the Toronto Maple Leafs called Hold On. Now, we watched it. We listened to it before the podcast, and I think it's a great song. I think it's so cool that he would dedicate a music video to them. He's probably a top 3 singer in the world, like recognizable level.
Josh, who cares? Just get to the point.
Well, I'm building up the story around it, right?
Okay.
It, to me, like, do people in England watch the Leafs? Probably not. But do they know who Justin Bieber is? Yeah. So all this is doing is bringing awareness to what the Maple Leafs are and who they are. And if they say, oh, Justin Bieber likes the Leafs, other people might see this. Now, the other side of it I've seen is, and what was that Twitter account, Brennan? Was it Editor in Leaf? They were saying, like, I don't care what this is. Bieber is like, I forget the tweet exactly, but they were just having a hissy fit about it.
I saw that.
And he was saying, like, oh, he's not even good. It's not about if he's good or not. It's about the recognition you're getting, the global brand of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Can you name another?
I have the tweet, Josh. Can I just read it off? It's actually funny.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Editor and Leaf, they have 3.9K followers. So, like, they have a blue check mark. It is a person, I would say. They just said it. Justin Bieber sucks and is a huge loser. His association with the Leafs is an embarrassment. Like, no one really expects jocks to have good taste in music. But Bieber is music for people who find Old Navy commercials artistic. So,
wait. Yeah. Let me start because we already mentioned who said it. So we can just obliterate the tweet now because there's a couple points that are important to make here. First of all, he has no reasoning for why Justin Bieber sucks and is a loser. Second of all, using the term jocks is so outdated. I've never heard anyone.
Yeah, Mitch Marner is not a jock.
And it's a horrible situation to be just throwing stereotypes out the door like this. And third of all, is Old Navy commercials are artistic. What is wrong with Old Navy?
Yeah, I'm not really gonna comment on Old Navy. I haven't been in there since I was 12, but like
that's not the point.
I think that was his point, Josh, that no one's been in there since they were 12.
But anyway, like the Raptors have this partnership with Drake. The Leafs kind of have this unofficial one with Bieber. Can you name like another sports team that has these musical partnerships? Well, not music, but like partnerships with music artists,
celebrities or something.
Yeah.
I think
where they're not part of ownership. Like I know you're probably gonna say Jay-Z, but he owned the team.
No, Jay-Z's a good one, but I think Kevin Hart does a lot of stuff with the 76ers.
Right.
Meek Mill Spike Lee in the Knicks. Yeah, Meek Mill. So that's not really the point. Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time on this, but I'll just say about the Bieber thing briefly. I just think it's so cool that like you just see the passion rising. Like I personally don't think he's making these songs if we still have Fanouf, Kessel, and whatever. But like to know, you know what I'm trying to say? Like to know that he's friends with Matthews.
He's not going to make a music video where it's like highlights of
us losing games.
Michael Grabner missing a shorthanded breakaway for the 20th time that season.
Yeah, those are dark times. But just in general, I think it's cool that they're doing this. Like Josh kind of said, it's growing the game. And also the one thing that nobody accounts for is like this guy saying jocks. There's so many people that like the Leafs. You cannot tell me that the majority of Toronto Maple Leaf fans are also Justin Bieber fans. I think there's actually a correlation, and that's just the truth.
I used to hate the guy when I was younger, but he's actually put out some pretty good stuff lately. So
I think it's definitely a correlation to the association of the proximity Justin Bieber has to Toronto and the GTA and how close he is. I mean, Stratford to Toronto, and the fact that you see him on TV and on social media interacting with guys like Mitch and Austin and Willie Nylander. So I think it's for that. He's from 2.5 to 2 hours out from the area. He's a local kid, and he's the same age, around the same age as some of the guys in their prime, really, on that team.
Right.
I mean, he's a little bit older.
So also, talking about big celebs and partnerships coming up, the NHL and ESPN have partnered for the next.
I got one more thing I just remembered. That editor in Leaf, he's like, he said, I don't know if you guys saw this. He's like, yeah, it's not good music. Let me post my Spotify playlist. So he posted his Spotify playlist of his top. I think it was like his top 100 songs, and on there was Fetty Wap. So we'll leave it at that.
Can we get him on the podcast, Josh?
I kind of want to roast the guy.
Okay, yeah, we'll invite him. Anyways. So, Josh, you want to talk about the ESPN NHL TV deal?
Yeah, so the NHL is going back to ESPN after, 13 years they've been away since the 2004 lockout. So kind of a big deal because this deal is huge. And I have the press release pulled up here. My mouse died. Hang on. I'll just read. This is directly from ESPN.com. ESPN and the NHL announced a 7-year deal on Wednesday, returning hockey to ESPN for the first time since 2004. Included will be 25 regular season games on ESPN or ABC, early round playoff series, 1 conference final each year, 4 Stanley Cup finals on ABC, and more than 1,000 games per season streaming on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. The deal also includes opening night games, NHL All-Star Game, Skills Challenge, and other special events. The NHL's out-of-market streaming package is also moving to ESPN Plus as part of its subscription offerings. So I think the big thing to take away from this deal is it's 7 years. I think it was, I don't know the price tag on it. I don't know if you know that, Matt, but also it's going to be moving to a streaming service, which I think is huge for the NHL.
Yeah, I'll just give this background and stuff. What Canadians need to understand is ESPN is everything in the States. Like, it might not change how you watch the game, but in terms of like internationally, globally, especially in the States, it's a huge deal. Like, a lot of them didn't see hockey like at all. Like, if you lived in, for example, Alabama, you don't have access to NBC or the NHL network, which was played on. So this is going to be so good for the league. We're getting into different markets. And another thing is Stephen A. Smith, who is the main guy in ESPN. I guess you could say he's their Ron McLean, Friedman, whoever you want to call him. They're not really like, it doesn't matter. Stephen A. is his own thing. And I just definitely think it's good that like some of the major networks that talk about sports are going to have to talk about hockey. I just think it's.
I don't think Stephen A. Smith will be talking about the Flyers Penguins.
Oh no! Sorry. Let me elaborate. What they're gonna do is as soon as those shows end, they're gonna have like a hockey show. Okay. So for an example, I think it was Greg Wyshynski might be on, and just some other ESPN columnists. But in terms of, you will see Stephen A. Smith say kicking it to blah 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 to talk about hockey. Right. They'll probably cover the Stanley Cup Finals. They might talk about the Olympics, like more stuff like that, just to clarify. But it's definitely big. It's growing the game, and I'm just so excited to see on ESPN because, to be honest, if Toronto plays Boston, I'll probably watch it on ESPN rather than Sportsnet. To be honest.
I don't know about that one. I like the Canadian coverage of hockey games is pretty good, except for the intermission shows. But what I like about this is it's going to be reaching, like Matt said, it's going to be reaching all of the states. It seems to be that everybody over there has ESPN Plus because now it is directly partnered with Disney Plus, right? So if you get that package, you have Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, ABC. And I think it's a win-win situation for the NHL here to give those rights to ESPN. It's going to grow your game so much. And if it gets, it might get 2 or 3 more million eyes on your product. That's what you want. And when ESPN had the coverage, the sport was growing, and they were supposed to go into another deal. But then the 2004 lockout happened, and ESPN was like, well, if you're not going to have a season, we're not going to give you this deal. And then that's when they went to, remember they were on Versus for a little bit.
Yeah.
They were with Versus, and then they signed all these deals. And I heard that they were also looking at going to DAZN, which would have been interesting too to see that. But no, it's exciting to see, and it doesn't affect the Canadian coverage over here. It's still going to be TSN and Sportsnet, but
sadly.
But yeah, it's going to be fun, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it leads to something bigger afterwards. And
wait, one second. You guys said you watched the game. I want Brandon and Josh's perspective if you know what I'm talking about. Did you see on the quiz how they said Zach Hyman is the 3rd most important Leaf or something? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I watched the quiz.
Okay,
you were flooding.
Okay, so anyways, you guys missed this, but it was hilarious. Everyone was roasting them on Twitter. So you know how they do the quiz all the time on TSN?
Yeah.
So they had a pool, and it was other than Matthews and Marner, who is the most important Leaf or something like that. And 3 out of the 4 of them said Zach Hyman, and the only other option was John Tavares that people said. So people were roasting him on Twitter because they think Zach Hyman is the 3rd most important Leaf. I need your reactions immediately. And they said it straight faced. That's what they said. And their reasoning is he sets the tone. It's not Tavares and Nylander because they already have people that can score. Zach Hyman sets the tone, but they completely forgot about Riley and Anderson or Musner.
Most important in what way? Like
I don't know the exact question, which kind of sucks, but I want to say it was the most valuable to the team. And they said Zach Hyman is 3rd behind the big.
I mean, right now Hyman's playing like a valuable player, but I wouldn't say he's more valuable than Tavares or Nylander or
our best defenseman.
Or freaking TJ Brody's having a hell of a season. So
I just thought that was outrageous. And I think if you guys watched it for the 3 minutes like I did, you would have had a bigger reaction. I just thought that was hilarious. Josh, you can switch gears if you want, but that was so funny.
I got one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You bring up TJ Brody, we can kick it to his old team with Daryl Sutter and the Flames.
Yeah, Flames win last night 2-1. Brandon, we watched a little bit of that game. Josh Levo decided that he was just going to score 2 goals. That was kind of cool to see. Former Leaf Josh Levo, great name. And they looked tough. Lucic had a big fight again. That was a heavyweight bout. I don't know if you guys saw that. Lucic versus Anderson. Levo 2 goals. They were playing better, but they were playing Montreal, who you guys know my opinion on Montreal. I won't get into that. Carey Price wasn't playing. What do we think about this coaching change now? Because they had a hard practice on Tuesday. A couple of the players said it's the best practice they've had all season. And they look different. So is this going to be like a permanent thing moving forward? Or do we think that this is going to be kind of that 6-game bump a team gets when a new coach comes in?
It's the 6-game bump.
Yeah.
I think it's different if you saw like systems change, but the only thing I saw change was work ethic. And like, no offense, every team in the NHL works hard if you want to believe it or not. Well, maybe not Buffalo, but like every other team than Buffalo works hard. No, but like I saw a picture of like Hall and Eichel literally crying on the bed. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, so like I just think, yeah, it's definitely a bump. And no offense, you won 2-1 and you got 2 goals from Josh Levo. When is that ever going to happen again? Like, I think it was different if you saw a 5-1 win. Gaudreau had 2 goals, Tkachuk got 4 assists, and their stars showed up. But I just think it was a fluke that your third line played amazing with the line where I think it's Derek Ryan, Sam Bennett, and Josh Levo, and Sam Bennett wants to leave. So, like, I'm not really even sure if that's sustainable. But just give them credit that they fought hard and got a W. And I did see the clips of them running suicides in practice, which is good. I think that sets the tone. But in terms of them saying it was their best practice, like, what do you want them to say? Like, you really think they're going to come and be like, yeah, first practice with a new coach? It wasn't that good, actually. Like, they're obviously going to say it was their best practice.
It's funny you mentioned that, Matt. I kind of want to go on a little bit of, we'll come back to the Flames quickly, but I've seen a lot of softball questions from reporters this year, and we'll touch on Laine in a little bit.
That was funny.
But I really wish hockey players could just be honest, right? Like, if they say, oh, how was that practice this year? If it was a bad practice, what if the guy turned around and went, yeah, this guy's, he's just come in, and I didn't think that was his best practice yet. Like, what do you expect them to say? Like,
dude, it's so funny.
And like, they asked Laine, like, oh, you haven't had a point in 7 games. How are you feeling? He was like, oh, I'm not feeling very good. But like, what if he didn't really care? What if he just went, the team's playing well. I may not have a point in 7 games, but I'm actually feeling pretty good.
You know what it is? I'll bail out the journalists right here. I think it's just because hockey players are known for giving bad quotes. So like, in terms of writing an article, you better just have a quote more about what's going on, and in terms of like, and just like easy, you know what I mean? Because like, it's very rare you see an article with a hockey player who just mouths off or who says something that's actually worthwhile. So I think all these questions aren't even for their articles; they're just to ask. Like, you know what I mean?
These questions they're stupid questions though. Like,
yeah, but like, I don't know. I think hockey players could make it easy on the journalists and actually give like proper answers.
Or ask better questions. Like, instead of asking Laine how he feels about not having a point in 7 games, maybe ask him, what can you change in your game? Instead of just saying, oh, how do you feel about not doing your job properly?
No, but like, if Laine wanted to answer the question better, like, Josh, just ask me a question, a boring hockey question. I'll make it sound a little more interesting.
Matt, you've only scored 1 goal in the last 20 games. What adjustments can you make?
I have to make a lot of adjustments right here. I'm playing really bad. I'm embarrassed and I really got to get her going. Like, that sounds so much better than just saying, yeah, it's going bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get into it, Like, I feel it doesn't matter. I just feel like everyone can do better.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right, Brandon, take it away.
My personal opinion, you mentioned like the 6-game boost from Sutter. I'm not sure if if that's what it's notoriously known for, is 6 games, then
no, you just made it up.
Yeah, well, so I don't know. It can't be a permanent change, right? Because then he would have to be there for most likely never die a Flames coach and be coaching in the grave. But it'll be interesting to see what the fluctuations are of this team, especially if they can make the playoffs and what type of team they'll be, right? Because there's always 2 different types of teams, regular season and a team that makes the playoffs. So
yeah.
We can move right along to a team that is also situated in a place that has a coach on the cusp of.
Matt's got one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing about Calgary. They're fucked. I just looked up their schedule. They play Montreal on Saturday, which is good. Then they play Edmonton twice and then Toronto twice. They're fucked.
All right.
So they're fucked.
Okay.
Speaking of being fucked. Columbus Blue Jackets are pretty embarrassing, and I don't know if anyone's being fucked on the Columbus Blue Jackets, so we'll move along that punchline.
Well, the whole team is by Tortorella. Like, what is this guy doing over there?
Right.
You see, Pierre LeBrun says he wants to be fired.
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay,
yeah, no, what was that? Someone said that he wanted to be fired?
Yeah, Pierre LeBrun is saying he thinks Tortorella wants to be fired.
Right, so last night, I found it interesting. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, but Patrick Laine scored finally, snapping like a 7-game scoreless streak with an assist. So 2 points. However, he was -2. So that finds me that he was on the ice for 4 goals against. And I think they lost, right? And so that interview goes out where he's very monotone talking about the game. And it raises a question, what's the next leaf to fall off the branch, I would say, for Tortorella? Like, is there ever because we know that the management in Columbus literally openly spoke about how much they want Tortorella to stick around. A week or two ago, they had a press conference. Yeah. They had to essentially back up John Tortorella to the NHL and to the fans, which is something that no one else has ever done recently. So there was a clear disruption in messaging between Tortorella, the team, and the fans, and this doesn't help that narrative. It just happened, that press conference. So it's almost like he knows, like, he can do anything he wants now. He's got that underneath him almost, right? Like, hey, these guys just had my back. What are they going to do if I bench this guy?
Well, the way I see it, like Laine last night, he was benched for the last 7 minutes and overtime, which blows my mind that your best player doesn't see a second of ice in overtime. After putting up 2 goals, 1 assist, I don't care if he was a -2. Like, he was going. Like, if your star player's got 3 points, he's probably going to get a good look in overtime, and it just didn't happen. But he said after the game, I thought I played well, but I guess not. Like, that doesn't sound like a guy who's too happy with his coach, right? And they want Laine to stay long term. I think if Tortorella's there, he's going to say, yeah, no, thank you. I'd rather go play in LA or something, because a team will sign Laine, and if he can get out the first chance he can get. Like, a couple days ago, he was saying, I haven't been here very long, but it's starting to feel like home. So maybe he likes the city and he likes what he's doing there. He likes his teammates. But if your boss is a dick, you don't want to be there anymore. Right. And
the good news is the boss isn't necessarily John Tortorella. Hopefully there's a good connection.
Right. But he's the one he's the one he's interacting the most with. Right. Like, he's not
GM there hopefully helps out the situation, because you have a Finnish superstar and a Finnish general manager. Right. So you really hope that something gets done.
Yeah. Like, I would, Matt, if you were Jarmo Kekalainen, would you just clear house on the coaching staff?
Yeah, for sure. I just think we talk about Tortorella. Everywhere he's had success, it's only been for 3 to 4 years. Yeah. And it's time in Columbus. His contract's expiring. I don't want to say he wants to get fired, because I don't really like that narrative. But I will say he's not putting himself in the best position to not get fired. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think we say it all the time in this podcast. If you're going to lose the game, you lose with your best players. But a narrative
when have we ever said that on this podcast?
I say it all the time.
No. There was a point where we mentioned.
Yeah, I've said that. I say you always want to win and lose with your best players.
We were talking about how you'd rather lose as the Senators playing all your young guys.
Exactly.
Than playing as like a bunch
Josh,
of
apologize.
Mark my thoughts who can't tweet properly.
I have a point.
I'm sorry.
Don't give him a shout out. But speaking of shout outs, the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, I don't think people have ever talked about them as much as we have this year on this podcast.
Because they're one of the most irrelevant teams in the NHL.
But they're so irrelevant and oddly managed that it's a story, which is kind of funny. But I just want to throw some players under the bus. Like 3 players in particular in Columbus. Max Domi, who just got there, I thought he was going to have an amazing career in Columbus. I thought he was going to be really good. He has 9 points in 28 games.
I forgot he was on the team. You said
exactly.
Max Domi, and I was like, who did they trade him to?
Exactly. 9 points in 28 games, and he's a -14, and he's playing first and second line center. That is pathetic. Some other guys I want to throw under the bus. Zach Werenski, he's been banged up, but he's an offensive defenseman, and he almost got a point a game last year with 20 goals. He has 1 goal in 21 games and 9 points. That is terrible. And his ice time average is 25 minutes. That is pathetic. Seth Jones is also bad. 1 goal in 28 games, and he has 13 points, -11, and he averages 27 minutes. And he was almost a point a game on the blue line last year as well. So as much as we hate Torts, I think it's a lot wrong in Columbus, and I think they need to keep rebuilding and get some more pieces, because what they have is just not good enough on and off the ice.
So they are currently 7 points outside of a playoff spot behind Chicago. Both played 28 games. What do you think Columbus should start thinking about doing here? Because they got 25 games left. That's a big hill to climb. 7 points.
How far away from first overall pick, Josh, the bottom?
They got to catch Ottawa in the tank. So, or Buffalo.
Okay, yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, like they got 33 points. That's not happening. But like what's the mindset here? Do you sell at the deadline, or are you looking to acquire and make a push? I think you got to sell.
You sell, because I'm looking at their cap friendly right here, and I've heard rumors around some of these players. Nick Foligno, I think you could get something. Riley Nash, who played really good for Boston a few years ago, and I think that's more of like a name that some people might like.
Yeah.
He's a right-handed center, wins face-off. Dennis Savard, who's played really good as a UFA.
What about one of their goalies?
Exactly. And they have two really good goalies who are signed for this year and next year at reasonable cap hits in both 26.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you pick between these names are terrible. You pick between Elvis and Corpusalo, those two goalies. And I definitely think there's a lot of good teams that probably need goalies. Like I think Florida might look for one. Colorado, I'm hearing, is looking for one. Well, not hearing, I saw on Twitter. And Pittsburgh maybe. So I just think there's definitely some options as well as Columbus.
Sakic was telling Matt that they're looking for a goalie.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in a group chat with Nathan McKinnon and Rantanen. But anyways, I think if I was Columbus, I'll definitely be selling high on some of my guys.
Speaking of selling high, did you say selling high?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, speaking of selling in general, Buffalo Sabres. Let's move right along to another shitty organization in the NHL.
Okay.
Let me start. Yeah. Hey, wait. Let me start because you guys are going to go crazy and I'm not going to go too harsh because I actually like the Sabres, but I will state the press release that was released today, stating that just under 2,000 season ticket holders of the Buffalo Sabres chose to decline the invitation to sit in when the Sabres open up their seating at the arena again. And all the whole season ticket group declined to join. So they're selling those tickets.
Okay. So that's my question. So they have, I think it was like about 1,900 tickets to go on for sale. So every single season ticket holder said no. Is that right? What I'm hearing? Or not all of the 1,900 were sold, so they're putting some of those up? Or all the tickets going on sale to the general public because not one season ticket holder wanted them?
I think it's the second one because with COVID
and
stuff,
I feel like the holders didn't want to go. I agree.
I saw the press release and it's the capacity is only like 5 or 10%. So what they do is I don't think it's in terms of like giving to season ticket holders. I think it's more like first responders and like local people in the community, because I saw the Rangers do this and they're in the same state. So I assume it's more just like the general public is not interested. So they're just trying to scramble, reach season ticket holders and just try to come up with a solution. But basically the point is Buffalo fans are upset and they're not getting the type of fan support that they should be getting. So I think we should go for that narrative because we're not really sure about the individual tickets.
Yeah, we need to. The tweet I read, it sounded like all the season ticket holders said no. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah, that's unrealistic.
Like, people are gonna want to go to a hockey game if the team's gonna be bad, right? Especially if you're a season ticket holder, you're probably a diehard fan. But the fact that not all the tickets were sold is concerning. If you're a season ticket holder, you want to see your team, but if you don't like the product on the ice, I
don't think it's concerning though, because Josh, in my opinion,
they do, man. You can't get your season ticket holders to buy 2,000 tickets per game. That's concerning.
But let me explain why. I think it's more of the organization is not being completely honest with their fans. Like, I just personally think is, why did you give out the expectation that you're going to make the playoffs this year? You're in a tough division. You were not favored by any metric. And the only guy you got was Taylor Hall, who, no offense, is slightly overrated. I think that's fair to say at this point of his career. He's overrated. Eric Staal is past his prime. So all these additions you made, it's not going to the playoffs. You don't have a goalie. So I just think if Buffalo comes out and says, we're sorry for this, we're going to try to rebuild or retool, whatever you want to call it, properly. We're probably going to trade Hall. We're going to look for Ike to trade Eichel, and we're going to build around Cousins and Dahlin and just be completely honest with your fans. You see a better impact, more positive. And I just want to give it back to the Leafs. I think when the Leafs finally said, okay, we're done, we're trading Kessel, Lupul's not playing again, Phaneuf's on the trading block, goodbye to Bernier, and they did all this stuff. As Leaf fans, we finally got hope because we knew we should be looking at the draft and scouting and watching players like Marner and Nylander and Matthews. So I think if you tell Buffalo fans the truth, they'll start looking at like Shane Wright highlights or whoever's coming up and they're getting excited for the future. But I just think if you're pounding the narrative that we go into every game trying to win and we think it's realistic that we're going to beat Boston, Washington, Pittsburgh every night, you're selling yourself short and the fan base short. And I just think they need to be honest and rebuild and trade the pieces they have.
Okay, this is courtesy of BuffaloNews.com. Sabers season ticket holders had first rate of refusal to approximately 1,900 seats available to the game, and did not claim all of them in what might be the least surprising thing that's happened to the team this year. So some of them were claimed, not all of them were. So not every single ticket was refused. So that's
Right. All right,
clarified.
let's move on.
But yeah,
Matt. Let me just say, Matt's opinion on the Sabers definitely speaks for Orion.
yeah. Brandon,
You
your
guys agree?
video's frozen.
My video's frozen.
Yeah.
Turn it on and off
Still?
again. It's good. We can still hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's fine.
Put it back on. We'll just keep going here. There you go. You got it. All right. Let's
Good.
let's move on from the Sabres.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so switching topics. Josh, he says reffing this year. Is reffing bad or what's happening here? You
The
want to tee it up?
reffing's been super inconsistent this year, man. It's been
that's
awful.
true.
It has been bad. Brandon, your mic's mute. Mike is muted. I don't know if you know that. But man, like I'm just watching these games. Last night, was it Riley got his stick tomahawked out of his hands?
Oh yeah.
Right in front of the ref, and he was like, "No, it's fine, play on." But I think the reffing this year has been terrible. I don't know if it's because we're seeing the same set of referees almost every game, because
It's been inconsistent. Don't say terrible. Say inconsistent.
It's been inconsistently terrible. Like it's awful.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have to be if you're going to say inconsistent, you have to state what they're being inconsistent with. And
I think they're inconsistent with
the officiating of the rules.
Okay, but we don't know the rules. It's hockey.
We know the rules. Okay,
Josh, let me give you a scenario.
Was it the other night? Kerfoot just gummied a guy from behind into the.
That was funny. But
the ref was like, "Nah, it's fine."
Kerfoot's tiny, and that guy was big, so I was shocked that guy went into the boards like that. Like Kerfoot didn't hit him hard.
It's still from behind.
That's not the point.
I guess, but like I thought that clip was so funny. I laughed because Kerfoot doesn't really throw big hits. He destroyed that guy.
Everybody stopped playing except for the refs.
Concussion. What's the discussion you want to raise with the refereeing?
I just wanted to have a discussion about it.
I'll tee something up with you. My problem. I just think, there's been penalties where a guy has one hand on his stick and he touches the other guy's gloves and they call it a penalty. So I think what they're trying to do is tee down on the stick infractions, so they don't want to see tripping, slashing, hooking, that type of stuff. Yeah. But in terms of like hitting, everything goes. Like I feel like in terms of calling it for body checking, we're still in the year like 2012, but for stick taps, they're like 10 years advanced. Like some of the penalties that are just like, oh, you hit him on the gloves, oh, you can't open him a little bit, are egregious. Like I personally think if a guy has one hand on his stick and he taps you on the gloves, I don't think that should be a penalty. That's just me being honest.
No, okay, but so a referee's main job is to enforce the rules and protect the players. Correct. So, like, for example, the Tom Wilson hit, that wasn't called on the ice and he gets a 7-game suspension. But in the same game, there was a two-handed tap on someone's glove and they call that. I would rather they miss the two-handed tap and then make that call, or not make up the call, but actually call the Tom Wilson hit. Yeah, Greg Marchand punches a guy in the back of the head. That doesn't get called.
Okay, well, to be
fair, then he gets tripped. Like, I'm just not seeing the sensibility in the way they're reffing the game.
But I think this is NHL player safety, because I think they are so inconsistent. How are the refs who work under you supposed to be consistent? That's my point.
Maybe it is a trickle-down effect.
I think it's more that, because, like, to be honest with the refs, Josh, when you're watching the game, do you honestly know what should and shouldn't be called a penalty? Because I think it's so.
I have a general idea.
Yeah, but the problem is so do the refs, so they're gonna miss some stuff. There's only two of them. You know what I mean?
If you're a professional at your job, you don't have a general idea of what you should be doing.
Dude, I honestly think they do. They change the rules all the time. Like crazy stuff happens. Like, do you remember the delay of game that Nylander got and he was past the blue line? Which I personally thought, if you're past the blue line, that shouldn't be a penalty.
The first people to know about the rules always changing are the refs. They're the ones going through the notebook.
The refs don't change them though. It's the player safety people who do.
They have to. They're not uninformed of the rule changes though. It's not like, oh, here, go out and play, but we took away tripping for the night.
But all the rules are so like.
They spin the wheel in the dressing room. Hey, boys, no tripping tonight.
Yeah, like the rules aren't clear though. Like even when you look at Tom Wilson's hit, like people just like I heard on other podcasts and debating is like, is that boarding? Is that a headshot? What is that? So if you're a ref standing there and you miss that, but you see Carlo just on the ground, like, you know what I'm trying to say, Josh? Like, I don't think they know, to be honest with you.
That Tom Wilson one is a very specific example. Like, yeah, was it boarding? Was it a hit to the head? I don't think it matters what you call it.
Yeah,
in that
it's not
situation.
that.
Just
That's
give a
one
penalty.
penalty. Yeah, I think in general, though, just in terms of the what other things did you bring up that made you say refereeing is bad? What other penalties that you saw? The Riley grab, you said?
Yeah, the Riley, like the slashing's been terrible this year. The holding's been so inconsistent. I've seen a guy like have a finger on someone's shoulder and they call that, but then like Brody, I think it was Brody last night, was bear hugging a guy behind the net, and the ref's like, no, it's fine.
Yo, I saw Marner tackle a guy. Dude, honestly, it's fun. I'm having fun. I like the hockey, so I know the rules are kind of iffy, but
it's so
whatever.
bad you have to laugh.
Exactly. It's more that because you see like a tackle that doesn't get called, and you see like a little slash in the hands that get called. But like when I say tackle, I agree with you, Josh. I've seen defensemen pin a guy to the ground so he can't get the puck. Yeah. I've seen all this. Like it's like hockey/rugby, and I just think it's so entertaining to watch.
And also, they need to start calling cross-checking because just for example,
cross-checks are so fun.
Matthews has broken 2 sticks over guys' ribs this year. Like Ben Sherratt,
the
first game
is an important one to note because that goes on in front of the net a lot.
Yeah, I'd rather see. I don't want to see somebody get hurt, man. Like it, the cross-checking's bad. We've seen players cross-checked in the back of the head, in the face. Learn to box a guy out. Or use your shoulder. You don't need to use your stick to, hacksaw Jim Duggan wood shot across the back of the back. So
there you go.
It's just been bad. Tom Brady re-signed with the Buccaneers. What do you want to say? Speaking of
that was a really poor transition.
I've had enough of the reffing.
Clearly, it sounded like you had enough of Tom Brady. But I think Tom Brady signed
10 years ago.
a 1-year extension, putting him through 2022, I believe. Which is now putting that to 2 years because I think he signed a 2-year deal, made it 3 total now with the Buccaneers. Before it's all said and done, potentially, I don't know what that age will bring him to. But we don't have to talk about this too much because we have some more exciting football news.
Well, I got a question from Matt because I feel like he would know this. So when the release came out, it said he signed a 4-year deal which voided to a 1-year extension. What the hell does that mean?
Say it again.
He signed a 4-year deal, which voided to a 1-year extension.
Yeah, so in basketball and football, mainly football, they restructure contracts all the time. So what that means is how he's getting more years to like cancel out the one is they literally just cut your salaries in half so you have more cap space. So now you take less, but for longer years. So example is right now, if we want to, we could offer Matthews a 8-year contract, but for more money, but you got him for more years. You do that anytime. So LeBron and Tom Brady do that a lot, so they have more cap space to bring other guys in. So it's the cap save. So we did them a favor, technically.
All right, that makes sense.
As much as that. So thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Josh,
I wish hockey did that. Don't you, Josh? Like guys that are clearly overpaid, they could stay on your team.
I don't think our salary cap is flexible enough to do that, nor high enough to make that entertaining.
Yeah. No, but I think that would be
Josh and I were
so
talking about
cool.
it last night, how like 8 million, Sergei Bobrovsky numbers is on the bench in the NBA.
Yeah. But like I just think it would be so cool if you overpaid some guys and then they said, yeah, I'll take less money, but I just want to stay here. And they restructure their contract. Or you could restructure their contract to give someone a raise. Like for an example, if we wanted to give Hyman a raise maybe 2 years ago, he wouldn't be a UFA this year because we paid him what he should have been worth. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I just don't think our salary cap is built for that.
It would be so much more fun though.
Well, speaking of a reconstruction, you mentioned the CFL seems to be reconstructing their plans for the future alongside the XFL. Does anyone have information on this? I think personally.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I got something to say on this.
From a very broad perspective, the involvement of The Rock, both with the personal one right now, the ownership of the XFL, and he played a little bit back in the day for the CFL. So I think that's where some of it comes from. But let me see you guys.
Oh, it is. I think he's a partner on this, yeah.
Matt, do you listen to Overdrive?
Enough. Yeah.
Did you hear Did you hear the CFL commissioner?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Okay. Sum up what he said.
After this, he said literally nothing. All he kept saying was, so they kept asking questions because everybody wanted to know, like, what does this mean? Are you expanding? Are you merging? They
probably don't know.
Are you going to adopt a 4-down game? Is the field going to stay the same size? What about the balls, players on the field, the teams, the salary cap, all that stuff? And he just kept saying, all we've done is enter talks. we've started to talk, and like Brian Hayes was getting really heated with him. He was like, well, like, come on, Randy, people want to know this stuff. And he's like, I just don't have the answers for you right now. So all I got from this CFL XFL news was it was exciting at first, and then I realized that nobody knows absolutely anything.
You know what it is, Josh?
And it could just fizzle out and be like, yeah, we don't want to talk anymore.
It's more investors. Like I saw Tom Dundon a few years ago, about 200 mil. Now you have The Rock, who makes God knows how much money. So you have more money, so they have more options. So in terms of maybe you get rid of a CFL team, but you have a North American. So you have a team in Toronto, but you also have a team in Atlanta. So I just think it's more, you have more money, you have more mind. So the league's just going to get bigger, which I like. And some of the CFL has to do, and I don't know why they don't do it, because I'm not really a big fan of the CFL, but in my opinion, if they had an NFL rules, like everything was the same, the end zone was smaller, 4 downs, like you said, everything is, you can't run before the ball is snapped, all that. I think a lot more players would have a good year in the CFL and then go to the NFL because they don't translate as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It would be the same sport.
Here's the thing with that. CFL, it's been around for 100 years. It's Canada's football. So the hardcore fans like a guy in Winnipeg who crushes 20 Bud Lights and watches the Bombers game, but that's their market.
No, but I'm saying, don't you want to expand and get more eyeballs on it? And if you make the rules
really,
the same,
no, I don't think that's the idea.
That's what they did.
Man.
No, that's why they got. You don't get The Rock if you want to keep it the same.
I think the XFL approached them, to be honest. That's what I think. And
probably,
I think it's gonna be interesting to see where they go. I think we will see more of an adaptation of the XFL going to CFL rules than you will.
I heard that too, because I was also listening to the fact of how interesting the XFL commissioners and The Rock find the CFL game.
Yeah.
I think they said that they find it actually more exciting and
well, no one else does. I guess it's only them then. No one else does.
I love the CFL.
Well, all right. Matt's clearly against something going on.
No, but I just mean the NFL's done something that's $1 billion organization. And the CFL can barely stay afloat in comparisons to other professional sports leagues.
CFL's been around longer than the NFL.
So that doesn't mean it's better.
Okay. But it's
why'd you say that?
I don't know. I just wanted to piss you off. But it's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see where they go. And I just hope, just for the sake of Canadian football, I know Matt doesn't like the CFL, but when Brandon and I we're in Hamilton, when there's a Ticats game, there's a Ticats game because it's busy downtown.
I guarantee you, every single person in the States does not know what the Hamilton Ticats is.
But that's not what they're trying to do. They're not going to be okay, let's get eyes in Ohio on this Ticats game. They don't care about that. The CFL does not care about that.
But don't you think if they merge with the XFL and you only had a few teams in Canada and a few teams in the States, overall it would be a better investment long term?
No,
I don't think you're cutting down on teams in the CFL.
No, you're expanding. Sorry, I meant expanding. My bad.
The XFL only has 8 teams.
Yeah.
What does the CFL have? 9?
I've no. Yeah. Who knows?
10 when 10 when the Atlantic team comes in. They won't. They're not cutting teams.
Sorry, I meant adding. Sorry, that was my. Yeah. I meant adding to. Yeah.
But I mean, another thing I saw was that they might do, and the CFL or the XFL would have to adopt each other's rules for this to work, is you do the CFL and the XFL run separately in the regular season, and then the winner of each league play each other in a crossover championship, which I think
that's dumb.
I think that would be really fucking cool.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? So.
Okay, well.
Or maybe they do a tournament. That'd be fun. Can you imagine a football tournament? Top 4 teams do a Champions League football style tournament. That would be fun.
This is the most Canadian argument I've ever had.
Yeah. So
let's just move right along. I know Josh and I witnessed this sad occurrence last night live. The Raptors get beat on a buzzer beater by someone who I'm not even. Oh, Tony Snell on the Atlanta Hawks from 3-point.
Matt's favorite player.
Not any of us. Josh and I didn't watch necessarily the bulk of the Raptors game. However, we thought we would grab the win, and they scored on a legit buzzer beater. Matt, do you have anything to say on the Raptors?
Yo, Trae Young is so good. I saw some of that this morning. I think, what did he have, 37, 40 points?
Yeah. 37.
I think it was 37. So, yeah, I just think when you play a basketball game, whatever team has the best player is most likely to win. And I think in that game last night, Trae Young was the best player. I'm just looking at it now. Norman Powell had 33 points. That you can't expect him to do that all the time. That's pretty good for him stepping up. So yeah, I just definitely think Trae Young was the best player, and that's why we lost. But in terms of the buzzer beater, I think buzzer beaters are the worst when your team loses. And I just, whenever a buzzer beater happens to the Raptors, I always think about that Kawhi shot and when we got a ring. So, yeah, I don't have too much to say. The Raptors are kind of in a very interesting place because, like, I think Atlanta jumped over us now with that win last night.
Just on a positive note with the Raptors, Lowry now has the second most points as a Raptor. He overtook Chris Bosh last night.
How is that positive? We're losing games, Josh.
I don't know. It's just kind of cool.
All right. Well, I don't have much else to say on the Raptors. However, Josh wants to bring up top 5 sport arenas and venues, which I think is a huge conversation to be had. I don't know if you actually, do you have a list prepared?
Yeah, I got a couple.
I have a list in my head.
Okay, let's do it. Let me see if I can build a list off.
Can I go first?
I don't have 5 because you guys are thinking globally, internationally. I have a couple ones that I think of. So let me hear yours is first.
Wait, Josh, I have a question. Do you include soccer teams? Because I feel like you kind of have to.
Yes, of course.
Okay, yeah, okay, go. Soccer is so fun.
Okay, Matt, start us off.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, we'll each do 5, then 4, then 3.
Okay, so do I go with my 5 first?
Yes.
Okay, so 5, I have the Staples Center. The Lakers play there, the Kings play there. I just think, even concerts, I just think it's such a unique venue. And whenever there's a big basketball game, you see all the celebrities come in, even international celebrities that are in LA for the weekend. So 5, I have the Staples Center.
My number 5 is Madison Square Garden. It's a
what?
staple.
That's 5?
Dude, you should see the rest of my list, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Can you do your list full, and then I'll do mine? I'm curious.
Sure, whatever.
Okay. Actually, no. Keep doing what we're doing. Okay, go.
Madison Square Garden, it's home to the Rangers. Venues and concerts. It's hosted multiple WrestleManias. It's in the heart of New York, and it's just one of the most recognizable venues in the world. Brandon?
Okay, don't give me criticism for my list. It's very last minute.
That's fine.
Apparently, it's I've never been. I know a lot of people who have though, and the association, a lot of people from this area in Southern Ontario, Western Ontario, have with the Michigan football team.
Big House.
I'm gonna say the Big House is my number 5, just because of the atmosphere it brings when it's packed, and the magnitude of a rivalry game there is crazy.
All right.
Okay, so what is this, 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have Fenway Park. That's home to the Boston Red Sox. I just think there's so much history there. And I know we don't really think about it that much because as we're Canadians, but I always hear Fenway Park is so fun, especially when you see a baseball game. So in terms of just hearing from other people, I'll definitely go where the Boston Red Sox play.
All right, my number 4 is Pebble Beach. It's hosted multiple U.S. Opens. It's got beautiful view of the ocean on the on multiple greens. And it's, the players are always in a great mood when you're there, and you see a ton of celebrities when the Opens are there. So, Pebble Beach, you can't beat it for a golf course.
Interesting. My number 4, I will say, is not actually the course, but it is a mixture of a venue and an arena. It's number 17 at TPC Scottsdale. On the PGA Tour, where they host an Arena Circle Bowl that is super fascinating because it's the one time out of the year that some select golfers ask for the fans to raise the noise behind them while they're playing golf, and it gets some of the craziest Snapchats and social media videos because a lot of them are like students who are wasted from around the area, and the Waste Management Open has always been super famously known for that exact hole, and I know Josh will refer to that as a decent pick, hopefully.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I like it. Matt, what's your number 3?
Okay, so as you guys know, I'm a huge college football fan, so I have the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and people just refer to the Coliseum, and that's just classic. People go there just to look at the architecture. I think it's been around since like 1918. It's home to the USC Trojans, where they play college football. And fun fact, it's held 2. I just think in terms of like culture and like stuff, that it's been home to Olympics when a lot of things like internationally have happened. So like I'm a big like history and war buff. So they would actually have meetings at the Coliseum, what to do with war. I think the Cold War, JFK was there. So that's the president of the United States, for people who don't know. So yeah, I just go with the Coliseum. It's home to 2 Olympics and the USA Trojans football team.
All right.
USC.
For me, number 3, Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia,
Gotcha.
also known as the G. It has a capacity of 102,000, and that's just the stands. When they have concerts, they open up the field, and you're looking at 140,000 people in this place. Open air. It's hosted soccer. It's hosted international football and rugby. Cultural events, and it's also one of the leading arenas in technology. So it's Melbourne Cricket Arena. I'd love to go there just to see, even if it's just a cricket game, just for that amount of people in a stadium would be amazing.
All right. My number 3 is located on 60 Carlton Street, otherwise known as Maple Leafs Garden.
All right. I like it.
So the history is personal for me, and it's also been repurposed into a great Ryerson practice facility now too, which is in a grocery store in a crazy situation. So, a lot of history there, and it's still actually being used and put to great facility-wise uses these days too.
All right, Matt, number 2.
Okay, this one's already been mentioned and talked about, but I have the Madison Square Garden. I just think, like I said, everything goes on over there, and it's more known for concerts, I would say, internationally. But the Rangers are my second team, so I just think Madison Square Garden for sure.
I like it. All right, my number 2. This is a tough one, man. Like, there's so many. I got to go with a soccer stadium, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna mess up the name. Azteca. It's in Mexico. The crowds in this arena get so wild. I believe TFC played a game here a couple of years ago when they were playing a Mexican team, and they actually have a moat between the crowd and the field because so many times the crowd had rushed onto the field. It's known for its rabid fans. Landon Donovan became a villain there, and that's why they put in the moat, because fans were running into the field. And it also set a record attendance for a boxing match with 132,000 when the venue is only supposed to host 80,000. So it's a wild, wild arena. So I'll go with that one. Brandon, number 2. Oh, he's gone. All right, Matt, number 1.
Okay. So Josh, I know you're from England, so I'll give you a shout out. It's Wembley Stadium.
Interesting.
I've never been there, but I hear such great things. Because Manchester United play there, the English national team play there when it gets crazy for like the World Cup and stuff like that. And I just think it's so cool because I think I watched a soccer game there maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't think I've ever seen that many people wearing like the same color. Like usually, like I feel like in American sports, like not everyone who goes wears jerseys, and especially if they do, like I might be wearing a blue leaf jersey, someone a white, but they were all wearing the I think it was, I don't know what team it was, but they're all wearing the same jersey, so it was just a big sea of red. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So I'll definitely go Wembley Stadium in England.
Right. Okay.
Have you been there, Josh?
I have been to Wembley. Yeah, it's a fantastic, fantastic place to go to. My number 1 is Augusta National Golf Course. It's the most recognizable golf course in the world. It hosts, always hosts the Masters. It's one of the best places to watch golf live. It looks fantastic on TV, and you actually have to be invited to attend. So when you go, you're getting a proper crowd. And when a top golfer in the world is in contention for a Masters, you're like, the crowds are insane, especially like when they're walking down 18th to putt out for a win, and you just look behind them, there's hundreds of thousand people following that golfer. So that's my number 1 is Augusta National Golf Course. Brandon, we missed your number 1 and number 2 if you want to give them.
Yeah, right. I clicked the wrong button. I exited out instead of added a tab to my search bar there. That was kind of funny. My number 2, I didn't hear Matt's number 1.
It was the Manchester United Stadium in England, Wembley. That was what it's called.
So this is called the Valiant Arena, or the indoor Ishal Davos, right? It's the host arena of the Spangler Cup over in Switzerland, and it is
this earlier today.
Right, and it struck a huge chord with me because my dad and I watched the Spangler Cup. We used to watch it all the time when it was on because it ran in a direct relation to the NHL playoffs, and sometimes guys, or maybe it was World Championships too, but like a notable player, favorite player of all time, Derek Roy, was a Spangler Cup member for Team Canada for a bunch of years, and I have huge respect for Derek Roy. Regardless, the arena and the structure, the wooden architect, whatever, it's one of the most fascinating things for me to look at while they're playing a hockey game there, and it's breathtaking and it's personal to me. It may not be everyone's favorite. I have no soccer, rugby pitches. I barely put the football one on my list, but I'm not one to watch European soccer and Australian cricket, rugby, whatever we're watching. So with my number one, it's going to be the Herb Brooks Arena for a lot of reasons associated with history of hockey. And I think although it's not a huge arena and it can't host, the biggest events these days, I think the small capacity, the history around it, and the Looney. Oh wait, no, that was that. What was the one with the Looney in the ice?
That's Vancouver.
Right, that was Vancouver, but
Miracle on Ice was Herb Brooks. Like that's
right. I know that it's the Miracle on Ice. Herb Brooks for a hockey player. It's if you were to step on in the movie when the player stepped on the ice and the guy in the crutches and everything, their eyes were in shock when they stepped in that rink. And was it named Herb Brooks Arena when that time? No, right? Like it wasn't named yet. So that's kind of beautiful too. Huge shout out there, and honorable mention was Augusta for sure, 120,000%.
Yeah. All right, Matt, this is your segment. Let's take it away.
Yep. It's time for Matt's debates. Okay. Have you guys seen the question?
Yes.
I put them in the thing. Okay. So first,
I actually haven't, so this is gonna be interesting.
Okay, yeah. So Connor Hellebuyck stood in his head last night. Austin Matthews also are one of the best players. The Tchucks are very interesting to watch, and they're all American. So it got me thinking, and I saw Adam Wilde, shout out to him, tweeted about this. He thought the Americans would beat the Canadians. So the question is, if the Olympics were tomorrow, would the Americans beat the Canadians? Josh, you want to start? Who do you think's winning?
I think
I have the Americans.
I think this is such a tough one because it's going to come down to goaltending.
They have better goalies.
Like, I think offensively and defensively, they go blow for blow with each other. But when it comes down to the goaltender, like, who's Canada's goaltender right now? Carey Price, no Carter Hart, like who?
Hellebuyck.
Hellebuyck's
American. That's why I think we're going to lose.
Yeah, like I don't think we would, like, I can't guarantee a loss. I just definitely think the Americans would have the edges. Like, you can't count out the Canadians just because of the pride and honor they play with, right? Like, they do not want to lose to the Americans, and you still have the best player in the world on your team, right? Like, you still got McDavid on there.
Arguably top 3 of the 5 best players in the NHL right now.
Our team.
Who are the Canadian.
3? Mikheyev, McKinnon, Crosby, and McDavid. I mean, you argue the other top 2 are Matthews and Patrick Kane. So we have 3.
The thing is, do you really think Crosby's going to be the same?
Yes, I do.
Different
even when he dons a Canadian jersey, he goes plus 10 every skill.
He's got one more Olympic in him,
I guess. But I just look at it. I think it's actually. Here's a better question.
Wait, Josh didn't give your answer. What did you say?
No, yeah, he did.
I think it would be. I'd still take Canada right now, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game. And if it came down to a goaltending battle where neither team can score,
we're screwed.
It would be the Americans in like a 2-1 grinded out game.
Right.
But if the Canadians can get clicking and, like, say they get 3 past their goal, whoever's in net in the first, 20, 30 minutes, then I don't think the Americans have enough firepower to bring it back.
Yeah, I'll answer. I think that it's hard to put this one past a Canadian too, especially on this Canadian podcast. You can't never count out the sense of magic that happens whenever Canadians play for their country on hockey terms. I'm not sure what it is, but you're right, Josh. Regardless of who they are and what age, the Team Canada aspect of a team is something that you can never count out if you're playing the Canadians, regardless of the skill. The thing about the Americans is, I'm not too aware of their forward depth, like their bottom 3. Who their bottom 3 be?
Dude, they're disgusting. They have like Kyle Connor. They have Matthews, Jack Eichel, Patrick Kane, Blake Wheeler, the Chuck brothers. What do you mean bottom 3?
I'm asking for their bottom 3 forwards, like
their fourth line.
Yeah, not like bottom 3.
I have no idea who their fourth line would be. I'll Google some projections.
Did you name our bottom 3?
I don't think the fourth lines are going to matter in a game like this.
No, they won't. But
I do. It's the best talent in the world. Of course, the fourth line matters right now for the Leafs. Is one of the fucking best lines. The third line from the Leafs.
No, but that's not a 1-game elimination thing. That's like you're going to need them because you play 16.
I'll still take the Canadians, but I won't be surprised. I actually haven't put too much research into this yet too. I've seen one roster and it was a Canadian makeup roster, so I'm not even too sure. I hope to God, because I am Canadian, I obviously want Canada to win,
But I think there's such an old boys club in Hockey Canada. I hope they don't get egotistical and say, yeah, we don't want all the young players. Like, I think, like, because, every year they take a guy who's past his prime just because he's a veteran, he's been there. Yeah. Like, I just think, I know it's sad to say, but I think they might not even put Barzell or Braden Point on the team. Like, I think we might actually see this ludicrousness. Like, I saw a mock thing and it had like...
No, I don't think they'll make that mistake again, Matt, because they did that.
They could. Would you be surprised, Josh? Be honest. Be honest.
I would be a little bit surprised because what happened in 2006 was embarrassing.
I'm just a little worried because of that. And I saw someone did a mock and their top D pair was Shea Weber and Drew Doughty. And I just had a heart attack.
See, if that happens, then then
we're fucked.
I'm going back over in America.
Like, do you know what I mean, Josh? And I just think, like you kind of said, like if they put Carey Price in net instead of Hart or Binnington, like
I think you got to go Binnington. Oh, we also missed that Binnington re-signed.
Oh yeah, congrats on Binnington for getting $36 million. Good guy. Anyways, yeah.
So, want to hear something fun quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So these are the groups for the Olympics next year. Canada, USA, Germany, and China is Group A. So we're gonna get to see Canada play China. I just think that's a little fun.
That's so cool.
I know, eh? All right, next question.
Okay, so the next question. Fighting has gone down for the last 10 years, but this year I saw it went up. So when do you think fighting will be out of hockey, if ever? And to also give it more context, the OHL and AHL, where young players tend to play, there's a 10-fight limit. So, like, it's already kind of getting out, I guess. Josh, have you heard that rule? No? You made a face.
10-fight limit.
If you have more than 10 fights in a year, you get suspended.
So they have, like, a punch card?
No, I mean, actually, like, you drop the gloves and it's like a 5-minute registered fight. If you do more than 10, you get suspended. Did you not see that?
No, I didn't know that.
Anyways, yeah, sorry. So that's the thing. So the question is this. When do you think fighting will be out of hockey, if ever? Josh, what do you think about fighting?
I don't think it'll be ever out of the NHL. I do think we'll see it go down quite a bit, though, where if you see a fight, it's kind of like, oh, wow, they're still doing that. I don't think they'll ever get rid of it, to be honest. I think it'll just kind of naturally leave the game, if you know what I mean.
Do you think that's good for the game if fighting leaves?
I don't think there's a need for it, but it's always entertaining when it happens, right?
Do you think you're going to see, like I think Brian Burke's quote is, when fighting's gone, the rats are going to come out. So do you see a lot more smaller, dirty players doing more slew foots because you're not allowed to fight him? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Marchand's doing it anyway, so I don't really see.
It's been going on. Yeah. I mean, as long as the fighting's there to deal with it, then that's how the problems usually get resolved. I agree, though. For some reason, with no fans involved, I really thought the fighting count would go down this year, and like people wouldn't be as aggressive and inclined to fight.
Same teams, I think. You play the same teams.
Yeah, it's because you're playing the same teams, right?
Even then, I still didn't see a huge desire for these guys to fight and put an extra part of their bodies on the line, which is whatever. And then, all of a sudden, early season, both the Kachuk brothers are stirring it up, and Muzzin's fighting around, and then now Lucic finally dropped the gloves and goes haywire for haywire. And some guys in the American East divisions, like the Capitals and the Bruins, they're fighting like every damn game. Like Islanders are. It's kind of a different hockey this year than last year.
I think if you're a skilled team, you don't need it.
Well, when do you think fighting will be out of hockey, if ever? I mean, if the penalty for it is 2 games, if there's a penalty for it and it gets over 5 minutes, or it's a game, or it's 2, like it depends what the penalty is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But if it just remains a 5-minute, you can't take it. I don't think guys will take those liberties. 5 minutes. Those would be the greatest 5 minutes they've ever spent in NHL, probably, in that penalty box. So for some people, it's their pride and honor. They get money. Some of them get paid to simply step out there and drop the gloves and teach people how to be tough. However, that's not a sustainable reason to have fighting, to give guys jobs. So I just think, it's almost like, would you move the NBA 3-point line back now? Like, do you touch the NHL game that? Do you touch the games that much?
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. That's
you tinker with the little things of the game that have always been the same since the inauguration of those installments of the 3-point line, of the blue crease, whatever, the crease behind the net, the goalie's net. Like it's kind of like it's such a fine change that without, if it's a 5 game, and I wouldn't want 5 games for one fight. Like, it depends on the penalty, but right now I see it's booming right now. It's booming in NHL for some reason.
Yeah, that's actually a good response, boys. Okay, so the third one. the Calder Trophy is kind of a two-man race right now. Well, maybe some other people, but just these two in specifically. Tim Stützle or Kaprizov for the Calder, the Rookie of the Year.
Let me go, Josh.
Wait. Let me add some more context. The reason this is a huge thing is because Tim Stützle's 18 and Kaprizov's 23. And the last time this happened, it was Connor McDavid versus Temi Panarin. And they gave it to
Panarin got it, right?
Yeah. And I remember everyone was mad because McDavid should have won. I personally think he should have won because, anyways, I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I'll go. I know, Josh. Yeah. I love Stützle. I can't take this away from him. However, I think that what Kaprizov is able to do and what he's been showing is a direct reflection on the numbers. Like, he's putting up numbers. I heard something the other day that he could potentially put up a history record.
I have him right here.
Points for the Minnesota Wild this year. So a rookie franchise for the Minnesota Wild. However, I've never heard if Stützle's been doing that. And I watched Stützle. I watched Canadian Division a lot, and I see Stützle and I see the Senators, and I still don't hear about him too much. I hear him scoring the odd goal in a blowout, but the problem is that, you know, the Senators are losing games poorly, and the Minnesota Wild are actually in a competitive situation, right? So Kaprizov, what he adds to the team and the winning situation in Minnesota, I think that that's a great question, because you mentioned the Panarin thing, and this will definitely be a situation where you could see it going to Kaprizov because of the maturity involved potentially.
Can I just read their point totals first, Josh? I think it's important. Okay, so Kaprizov has more points in 24 games. He has 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points. So he has 20 points in 24 games. Tim Stützle in 26 games has 6 goals, 9 assists. So 15 points in 26 games, but that's for Ottawa. So it's kind of close. It's not as far as I thought. So, Josh, your opinion?
I think it should go to Stützle, but it'll probably go to Kaprizov just because he put up more points. Stützle is doing, like, the way he's playing. Obviously, we see more of him play because it's the Canadian division on the Senators. You know, they play the Leafs. But the guy's a stud. I know you can't, but just looking at what he did with the World Juniors, dragging Germany into a quarterfinal appearance or something.
Yeah, let's use the World Juniors as our basis.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like overall, I've seen more of him, so I know what to expect. I know he's a great player, but I just think it's going to come down to point totals. So
anyone else consider this a disappointing year for Lafreniere then?
Yeah,
he's got like 2 points, right?
No, he has 5 points in his last 5 games. Most of them are assists. He's coming along, but
shout out Josh Norris having 15 points right beside Tim Stützle.
Yeah, but Norris is it's true. Yeah,
he's a rookie this year.
I'll personally go with Tim Stützle. This is why, because Minnesota, as he is getting more points, these are the 4 bottom teams in the division he plays in: LA Kings, Arizona, Anaheim, and San Jose. That is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
But Matt, I thought you said the North Division was weak.
Dude, those people are so funny, and well, you have to look at it in like retrospect to the team. Like, I think Minnesota came in this year saying we want to be good. We're in a bad division. It's the top 4. We can make it. But like, honestly, Ottawa's not better than any of the teams, and you still have Tim Stützle fighting back against McDavid, Matthews, and all these studs. And I think the 18 to 23, 24 is important. Because I think if you've played pro in Russia for 5 years, you've been to Olympics, you've been to World Championships, and Tim Stützle's not even old enough to drink yet, I think it's more impressive what Tim Stützle's doing with Ottawa, just to be frank. I'm kind of biased, just to be honest, because I am Stützle's age, and I can't imagine myself playing in the NHL or doing anything at the top of a profession right now. So I think you have to give it to Stützle, I personally think. Any rebuttals? Brandon, you say something.
No, I agree with it. I know Josh is excited for this last question.
Yeah, Josh, this is your question. Tee it up and ask.
Okay, so we already I think this will be a fun one. We already touched on this. Justin Bieber released "Hold On" for dedicated to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, in honor of that song being released, which Toronto Maple Leaf, past or present? I know Brandon wanted me to throw that twist in there. Which Toronto Maple Leaf, past or present, would have the best music career if they were to transition to a music artist? Who wants to
didn't know first? The past and present really throws me off because I didn't think of that. So I was gonna go with Austin Matthews, obviously, just because he's American and he just kind of has that swag and like the outfits he wears. And no offense to like some of the other guys on our team, but like I don't really see them having the personality to be a music superstar. But Matthews likes the noise. He does a million things with GQ. You just look at his Instagram. So I think he could spit some bars as a rapper. But since it's past or present, I have to go with Nas and Kadri, obviously. Because I know he's a huge Drake fan. I remember him being courtside at a Raptors game. And I remember he was spitting some Drake lyrics, like just singing along with the music that was playing. So I think it's Kadri. I think he has the swagger. He's a very confident individual, which is hilarious. So I'll definitely go Kadri. I just think he looks like Drake, no? Like, I just think he could spit some bars.
Walmart version.
Yeah. My answer is something's.
Wait, time out. I have a question. Is this like just music or is it rapper?
Anything,
music.
Artist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, I'll still go Kadri Matthews for rapper.
Picture this guy with wearing tinted shades behind a DJ booth with no emotions, over 100,000 people watching him break discs. I believe Nick Antropov would make one of the greatest European EDM mixers of all time in Leafs history. Who could not be attracted to such a magnetic personality?
All right.
And Nick Antropov has a lot of personal stories with this podcast, I hear.
Yeah, I'll tell that off air. And now, all right, so we got Nick Antropov and Austin Matthews. I'm gonna go with Leafs current goaltender Frederik Andersen, just because he looks like Ed Sheeran. So I don't even think he'd have to try that much. He could just kidnap Ed Sheeran and take over what he's doing. Like that would.
And that is what Josh has been waiting to tell you all this week.
Yeah, I've been waiting an hour and a half just to
say
that.
That's not a good enough answer though, because you're supposed to take their personalities and how they act and say, "I think you could do this," but you just said because you look like somebody.
In all reality, it's probably Mitch Marner just because of his outgoing personality. He'd probably be a DJ, just like hyping crowds up. You know, Nylander might be a good, I don't know, singer.
R&B guy.
I was thinking of putting
Jake
Darcy
Muzzins,
Tucker and Ty Domi together and calling them a group or something.
Yeah, like Jake Muzzin can probably shred some death metal or something.
What about the tough guys like Colton Orr and like Rich Clune? I feel like they
would be
good.
The meatheads.
Yeah. Like, I think they could do a rock metal band.
Yeah, but no, there's a lot of options.
So let's take 2 seconds here to buffer, and we're going to introduce to you our giveaway because hockey cards I see there. Okay, so let's break it down because we're gonna section this off. So Josh, you start it, and once you start talking, that's the part we'll probably start releasing Instagram. So Josh, introduce the giveaway to us, and we'll tell you how to enter, win, and multiply your chances, and what we are giving away.
All right, we're doing a giveaway. We are giving away a Carlton Funko Pop, a John Tavares Funko Pop, a pack of Upper Deck 2020-2021 Series 1 hockey cards, and a $20 Tim card. Brandon, how can you enter in this?
Okay. You tell them how we enter in this. Let me tell them the specifications of
So the way to enter is you have to like this post, follow us on Instagram, share to your story, and tag 2 people in the comments. That is one entry. For an additional entry, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Right. So detail of the giveaway, Josh, hold up the 25 hockey card pack there. So the winner will have the choice of either their bobblehead Funko Pop and the choice of card, Tim's card, or Upper Deck hockey card. So the Upper Deck hockey cards come with 25, 2 special inserts with the opportunity of pulling Alexis Lafreniere Young Guns rookie card, which currently goes on eBay for $200. So there is a potential value in there. There's lots of Young Guns in the Series 1 Upper Deck. That is what they are most known for. And it's a very exciting. I know hockey freaks should know that. It's not the most universal hobby. However, I think that there's a great potential there with the hockey cards. And for collectors, you can collect Carlton or John Tavares. And for anyone, you can get coffee and breakfast on us for a couple of days. So we want you to like the post. You got to make sure you be following Orion. And we're also going to do a similar giveaway on Twitter with the same stuff. Make sure to be following our Twitter. And then if I'm not expecting 1,000 people to enter. So if you go on iTunes and you really want one of these things, you give us a 5-star, all of a sudden you have a double entry, and your chances probably just got a lot better of getting what you want.
Right. We're excited about this. We think it's going to be fun. Matt, you want to sign us off this week?
Yep, for sure. Another week with the podcast. Love talking hockey and sports with the boys. Remember the giveaway. Very important. Go on iTunes, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice comment, tag 2 friends. It's not that hard. We'll post all this on our social media if you need further instruction. Goodbye, and we'll see you on Monday.
Oh no, my mouse died. 1 sec, fill time.
Yep. Okay, we're back at it. So great
Okay, we're
podcast.
good.
Goodbye.
Bye.